We're one day into Donald Trump's civil defamation trial against E. Jean Carroll, and his lawyer may have already ruined the entire thing for him. This is Trump lawyer Alina Habba, and it is weird that she would have potentially blown up his legal defense because she just seems to have the best qualifications. She's a real lawyer and everything. But anyway, here is the context. She and the rest of the legal team was provided by Judge Kaplan some very basic ground rules of what they are allowed to say about the case, how they are allowed to talk about the fact that he's already been found guilty in this. He is civilly liable. This whole trial is just about how much money he's gonna owe. Very basic ground rules, and she can't even stick to that. Basically, they can't make comments about E. Jean Carroll's past romantic relationships, sexual disposition, and prior sexual experiences, and they can't argue that Donald Trump did not sexually abuse her because we're past that. The jury has already found him to be liable for that. The other stuff about her past relationships is obviously completely irrelevant to whether she was sexually abused by Donald Trump. That said, almost immediately, they start violating those rules. So Alina Habba began talking, and she said, President Trump defended himself when publicly accused. She was cut off at that point by the judge, who said, don't go much farther, because she's going to claim there that he had just been accused of doing this thing. We're done with that. The trial's over. We're done. And I am telling Alina Habba that. I'm also telling, by the way, Nikki Haley that, because she had been asked about why she doesn't criticize him for his legal troubles. And she said, well, innocent until proven guilty. Oh, interesting, that is true, that is true. Oh, he was guilty on this though. So can you talk about this one? No, you can't. We live in a weird country. Anyway, Alina Habba also decided to basically once again smear and weirdly like self-promote, slut shame E. Jean Carroll by saying the evidence I will show I will show you is that Miss Carroll's conduct has caused this media frenzy. So basically, she's responsible for the added harassment that she's been getting, the threats. She's fully enjoying the attention of MAGA chuds mocking her. And we will ask Miss Carroll to confirm that she felt she was in a cocoon of love after the publication. Okay, so basically, we finished the trial. He was found guilty of this. Not of full-on rape, although the jury had some interesting stuff to say about that, but of sexual abuse. Immediately after that, he began defaming her once again on a town hall. His lawyers are now, knowing that this will be disseminated, defaming her in the same exact way. He is continuing to, as we'll get into. I don't know how much more this will end up costing him, or whether this will possibly result in further litigation against him. But I am sure she's following his orders, but she is supposed to know enough as a lawyer to say, you've already been found guilty. How about we limit the damage to you by not throwing fuel on the fire? Instead, she proved herself to be a true loyalist and is digging his grave even deeper for him. What do you think, Francesca?
Yeah, and just he's giving her the talking points, and she's just legalizing them or trying to, brush them up a little bit. But it's the same BS. He's been accused, but not accused, convicted of sexual abuse, as you mentioned. But you'd feel like it'd be in Ms. Habba's interest to protect Donald Trump's wallet. Why? Because she's owed a lot of money. Has she been paid? Oh, maybe she's got a retainer. She's got a little bit of the money. She might have like a few IOUs, with his signature, just like, here, sell this on eBay, it'll be worth a lot. Like that kind of thing. Every single lawyer Donald Trump has, he's burning through, and she's the last like poor soul who's defending him on this and a number of other cases. And you're just like, girl, what are you doing? Give him actually sound legal advice. But honestly, I'm like, go E. Jean Carroll, like keep digging. We're looking at, what is this, $10 million are we going for again? Like $10 million?
Yep.
And again, just like the civil case in terms of the financial fraud in New York, it's like, you could get less penalty. Like you don't have to pay the full thing that Letitia James is seeking. You could pay half of that, but you keep on threatening the judge, you keep on disobeying what the judge says, which is don't turn this into any kind of, political platform. Same thing in this case. Hey, shut up. I'm gonna do you the biggest favor and tell you to shut up. And he can't even do that.
He doesn't have the ability. And he's been trained to not shut up, because very rarely up until this point, through the many, many decades that he's been alive, has not shutting up actually hurt him. Only now is it starting to maybe hurt him. So can we really be that surprised? On the payment structure for Alina Habba, I do not know. I would assume that after all of the legal travails he's been through, she would have asked for a retainer. But it's possible that he's paying her based on exposure or something. Like, I'll put you in front of the cameras and someday you'll be press secretary, or you'll get a position on Fox News. Or maybe he's exposing himself. I don't know. But some form of exposure is probably going on. But in any event, legally, I don't think this is helping her. Could she end up getting other right-wing clients after this? Possibly. That's not generally how it goes for lawyers. Usually when you're with Trump, that's it until he casts you aside or you're disbarred, I guess. So I would guess that the more likely outcome is that she ends up in the White House with him.
I think that's a
just
fair
make her
assessment.
press secretary. Why not? Like, she'll say whatever he tells her to say. That's the only qualification for it. And that's not even a Trump thing. True of the Dems as well.
Oh, so being anyway, like at least a 9.5.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.